What is up, guys? This is a different video for the channel. I wasn't sure if I was really going to do a video like this, but I wasn't planning on doing a video like this in the first place, but uploading it is what I meant. I am getting my CDL Class A license, or trying to. Tomorrow I'll be testing, or whenever this goes up. And one of the biggest things is a pre-trip inspection. It's going over pretty much everything on the truck and telling, your instructor, the person testing you, what's what and what's good, and basically letting them know what you're doing. And I was having a hard time teaching that to myself, so I decided I'm gonna pull out my phone and I'm gonna record and do it that way, and basically get myself in a better position, like where I felt like I was talking to somebody like I'm doing now. So that is what I did. I did not plan on making a video out of this, but I thought, hey, why not? But in no way, shape, or form is this a thing that anybody that is going for their CDL to look at, because it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not an instructor, and I'm not giving advice. I was just teaching myself, and I figured, hey, this might be interesting to some people. So I went ahead and did it, and I'm gonna go ahead and post it up. So you're gonna get two intros. You're getting this intro and then me explaining what I'm doing, and then getting into the inspection. It is not perfect. So for anybody's like, oh, that's not right. Well, guess what? I'm not, like, I don't know. That was like my fourth time going over it. My first time deciding to record it. So yeah, but this actually helped a lot. I feel like I have a very, very good grasp on things. So just sit back, enjoy, and kind of chuckle if you notice kind of stuff at me not knowing some things. So thank you. What is up, guys? This is a little different. I'm actually doing this for myself, but I might actually end up using this in a video. I don't know, it depends. But this is how I think it would be best for me to work, as I seem to work better when I'm recording, because I'll be able to kind of explain things a little bit better based on how I've been able to do other stuff. So what I am doing is a pre-trip inspection on a truck, because I have a test coming up in, well, hours. Basically, I am going to be testing tomorrow to get my CDL. This is basically a truck I will be driving, not necessarily I will be driving, but as there is many like this. It's not one of those many like this one's mine thing. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I am going to kind of go step by step through what I'm going to be looking for and what my instructor is going to be looking for tomorrow when I go over the pre-trip. So I'm staying in front of the truck, everything is off. What you want to look at is if there's any leaks, and I'm looking under the truck. I do not see any fresh leaks. I do see a couple of wet spots, but that is from condensation, as it was in the 40s, and now it's almost dang near 60 something and gonna be into the 70s. So looking at the front of the truck, I noticed there is no leaks under it, no fresh leaks or anything as oil or anything alarming. I'm looking at the headlights. Those are in good condition. They're not cracked, broken. The top lights as well, those are not broken either. And then up in the corners, I'm noticing damage. You do kind of want to point out damage to your instructor. That way, especially for me, my instructor is also my boss, so he is, they need to know damage, so that when you bring a truck back, they're like, hey, you did this, and you're like, no, I didn't, I told you about it. But you can see that corner light up there. That is a clearance light, orange. That is intact and appears that it will be working. There is a light test, but it's not yet. You're just looking to make sure none of the lights that are on the front part are broken, as well as these. These are flashers for when you use your turn signal and whatnot. So looking at that, we are good. So we can open up the hood now, which there's two straps here. There's one there, and then one on the other side. Again, I do apologize about the way this goes, but this is a long test, by the way. So the straps are done. You can, hopefully, sometimes they do like to hang in there. Yeah, that side did catch back in. You want to make sure that they don't catch back in. Typically what you want to do is when you pop them up, put them like that. Like this. And not like that, because they can latch back in. So you can pop the hood. And we're on the passenger side. So the first thing we look at is hoses, as well as this is a charge piping for the turbo, which is right back there. Big old guy right there. It's actually, I can't see. I'm not trying to do this for you exactly as much as me. But look at hoses. Hoses are in good shape. I'm looking at the fan blades as well. The fan blades look okay. Alright, another thing they want to know about is the alternator, which is right here. That is secured, it's not broken. It is belt driven, the belt is tight but not tight. It is basically the perfect level. Everything looks good over here as far as hoses and stuff. Right here we have a windshield washer fluid, so you point that out. That is in a, well, we have plenty of windshield washer fluid. So next thing you want to look at while you're over here is you want to look at the strut. The bolts are tight. There's no leaking of the strut. It's not bent, broken, as well as the leaf springs. Leaf springs are not bent, broken, cracked. The U-bolts, again, I'm not a professional here, so this is basically me. After I'm done with this, I'm gonna go over the paper and see what I missed and whatnot. But yeah, the U-bolts, they are tight. The spacers are tight as well. There is no, basically you're gonna say tight. There's no, gaps or anything. Over here you have the, oh, I thought I was turning off my phone there for a second. You have the, I always forget what this is called, the brake chamber. The brake chamber is not broken, not cracked anywhere that I see. There is no, there's no leaks. Then you have, alright, I had to pause, I had a text message from my boss. But you have the slack adjuster after you check the chamber. You don't have, it doesn't matter really what order you go in, but the slack adjuster's here. There's no slack there. Then you come in here, you have, this is going to be awkward. You have the wheel, the inner wheel is not bent, broken. There doesn't look to be any shoddy repairs on it. Then you have the brake drum and the linings and the pads. There's plenty of pad life and everything is good on this side. There's no breaks, there's no cracks, there's no leaks that I can really see. There is plenty of lube, I guess you'd call it. Then you come to the outside, you got the wheel here. Front wheel is, you make sure there's no unevenness. Your front tires have to be 4/32 of an inch. That's plenty of tread, you can just tell right there, but you can also do a test. You're also feeling around the tire itself for any dry rot spots, bulges, or any kind of damage. This wheel is okay. It does have some marks somewhere you do kind of hit some curves and stuff, but other than that, this tire is perfectly fine. Next, you got the nuts. You look for them, they're all tight. Basically, they want to see you touch these. They're all tight and good. There's no rust appearance. There is no basically like a new looking lug there. It's not clear, so it doesn't, so that if you had like signs of silver or something in there, where it looked really clean, that would show that a bolt has come loose or something. Then you have the oil hub cap, or whatever you want to call it. That, all these nuts and bolts, they are of course tight. There's no leaks as well. They do want to know about steps, but primarily on the driver's side, but the steps on this side are good. So we will move to the driver's side, and this is the sheet of all the stuff that we have to go over. Like I said, I'm going to try to look at this after and see what we might have skipped. So you come over to the driver's side, you're looking at hoses again, looking at connections. You got your air lines and whatnot up here. There's no sign of leaks. How you get a sign of leak is obviously a hissing sound or a sound of air escaping. You're looking at the rest of the fan here, that's fine. The water pump, which is kind of back there, you can't see it exactly all that well. And then you look at, of course, this is the same belt, that's fine. There's no leaks appearance or anything coming from the water pump. And also looking for the compressor. The compressor will have the copper fitting. There's no, everything looks good here. No bends, cracks, breaks anywhere. There doesn't appear to be any leaks. Steering linkage, no unnecessary putting the linkage. The joints are free of debris. Right in here, you want to look at that. Again, this is all, you might be looking at some of this. This is grease and stuff to keep it together. Then the steering box bolts are tight. It's not broken. There's no cracks, there's no leaks. Bent, broken, whatever. Then fluids. You want to look at your fluids. You can say this first. As long as you say it, it doesn't necessarily matter the order. Be careful, this truck, like me, this truck has been running and here I am touching stuff that could be potentially hot. Steering, or that's the steering fluid. This is the coolant. Coolant is at the appropriate level. You can see maximum there. and that's what you need to add. So we're good there. We're also good on steering fluid, so we're all good there. We covered the washer fluid because that was on the other side. Sometimes it's on this. We have a couple older trucks where the washer fluid is down here somewhere. Again, you want to look at your struts. The bolts are tight. There's no play. There's no bends, breaks, cracks, anything like that. There's no leaks. Then we come down to the leaf spring. The leaf spring is good. There is no bends, cracks, or anything in there. The U-bolts with the spacers, which the spacers are here and stuff, they're good and tight. You want to look at the frame as well, the frame of the truck, which is this piece. It's going to go all the way around. You're going to have to do this all the way back. There's no cracks, bends, unnecessary welds and repairs. Then you can come down here. You're still kind of, you can sit there and you can always mention stuff that you look at. They're not gonna mind that. One of the big things, and I almost missed it, but then I went and did that, is transmission fluid level. You got your thing here. You don't have to pull it out, but you tell them you pull it out, you check it that way. Engine oil, you pull that out, you check the oil. That's how you do that. So that's good. This brake chamber is in good shape. It's not bent, broken, cracked. There's no sign of leaks. But there are slack adjusters, and this slack adjuster is good as well. Some of them have a pull thing where you can pull here. These are right here. Slack adjuster is good. It's not leaking anything. It does have some grease on there. You move down again to this wheel. This wheel is not bent, broken, cracked. It's got a good seal. That's another thing I want to say. Good seal with the tire. I kind of forgot that on the other one, but as long as you put it in somewhere, I think you should be okay. You got the brake grindings and the drum. That's right, these are drum brakes. They're not disc brakes. So people think, whoa, you know, because that's kind of what I thought when I was younger. These, the pads, there's plenty of pad life. There's no bends, breaks there either. The tire on the inside, you want to do the inside and the outside. There's appropriate levels, including locks. That rock was turned about, but it's smooth. There's no bulges. There's no signs of dry rot. 100 psi, cold psi is what your tires should be. You'll check your tires obviously with a gauge on this right here. You also look at the bolts. They are not loose. Everything is good. The wheel is properly sealed around the tire, or the tire I would say is around. I'm getting a little confused here. I'm trying to like do everything perfect. And then your oil hub, that is good. It's not broken, it's not cracked, and there's no leaks there. So this tire is good. You want to move over here to your door hinges. Hinges are securely in place. The door has no play, as I'll show you here in a second. The mirror is secured. There's no brakes as well. So the door opens, does not sag. You're good there. Your handle, pull handle to get you up in the truck, is securely fastened. It's not going to go anywhere. You're good there. You don't really have to point this out, I don't think, but this is your diff fluid. This is actually what gives the truck more power. You can sit there and say that, you know, that tank is fine, there's no leaks there. But they do want to know about your fuel tank. Your fuel tank is not cracked, broken in any place. It is holding fuel. There's no leaks. Stairs. The straps on your tank, they are secure. They're not loose. They're tight. Your hoses for your fuel, there's no leaks. Everything is copacetic there. And then your stairs, they are securely fastened, and they are not going to, you know, cause you to get hurt. Now you're onto the back part of the truck, or tractor in this case. You'll be looking at your hoses. You got this is your power hose, which gives you lights and whatnot. Make sure that is securely fastened. They do say that you want to pull it out, you want to check the prongs. Then you have your air hoses, and this is your lift gate. This is for our lift gates in the back, the black one. And then your air hoses are red and blue. Make sure there's no leaks. They are securely fastened. Some want you to disconnect and connect them, but you say you disconnect, you check. Basically, you see this red seal. There's two of those. There's one on each side of the receiver, and the hose of the glad hand, basically is what it's called. And you want to make sure those are secure, and that the hoses are free from the catwalk. They are not gonna like rub and chafe, and that the hoses are in good shape. They're not, you know, serrated. Yeah, they're not, you know, they're just in good shape. You want to say they're not broken. Again, looking at the frame doesn't appear to be bent, broken, or cracked. It is in good condition. There's no unnecessary repairs. Now I keep forgetting, I think this is called the air box. I could be wrong, but you want to make sure that your hoses, of course, all the way through here from your air tank and whatnot, are secured. There's no leaks as well. It is dirty, but they're not. And you will get your hands dirty, definitely, unless you wear some gloves. I'm not wearing gloves because I'm a man. I'm joking. But yeah, you want to make sure that this box is secured. It's not broken. There's no leaks. You know, bolts are good. Then you look at things as your your air tanks are not broken, they're not leaking. Then you want to do this. This is different on many trucks, but you'll test to make sure that the pressure relief valve is there. What that does is that releases, of course, as you could hear, air, but moisture builds up in these tanks, and that will help you release any moisture that gets in the tanks. Moisture is bad in those tanks. Then you move back here. You look at your mud flaps. The mud flaps are not bent, broken, or cracked. They will do the job necessary as far as stopping rocks from being kicked up. Then you can come under the trailer. You look at your reflectors. Well, these aren't reflectors. Reflectors are sometimes up here. This one does not have them. They're actually down here. Reflectors are good. Your lights are good. They're not broken. They appear that they'll be in working fashion. This will be a test that you do towards the end with your instructor. Airbags. These big beefy airbags. Full of air, no problems there. They're not broken, they're not lacerated, there's no cuts, there's no bulges indicating a failure. They are fine. You can also go ahead and look at your diff and say that you know your diff as well as everything else is good. There's no signs of leaks coming from there. Up here, you'll have your fifth wheel, your lock pin, kingpin, all that. The platform that is mounted for the fifth wheel, the bolts are tight. There is no damage. There's no bends. It is good. You can see that the locking pin, the locking jaw is around the pin. It is secure. There is no gap between the fifth wheel and the apron. This piece right here on the trailer is called the apron. I'm trying to remember that myself. Like I said, this is for me more than you guys. I don't know if I'll even use this or put it up. But there's no cracks. It's not broken. Everything is secured. There is no light coming between the fifth wheel and the apron or the trailer. So you do not drill holes or weld. Okay. So this is going to be tougher. This is right here where the two tires meet. You want to make sure that in this area there's nothing in this gap, which is also called the bud spacing. If you see tires touching each other, that is not good. You need to get that looked at. But both tires look good, look free of signs of dry rot. There's no bulges. Tread depth has to be a minimum of 2/32, and we definitely exceed that on these tires, which is good. Coming in here, you want to look at your leaf spring. It is not bent. It's not broken. God, this kind of, I'm glad I'm small, but this is tight for me. Your big old U-bolts are secure. The bolts are I'm like out of breath just from standing up and moving around. But yeah, then you want to do the same thing. Your brakes, your slack adjusters, all that stuff, your pads. This is going upside down, so I do apologize. But everything is good there. There's no bends, breaks, cracks. The wheel is sealed against the rim nicely. There is plenty of pad life. And then again, you want to check there. So, I do know I probably ended up missing some stuff. While you're here, you want to look at your bulkhead, which is a trailer. There's no breaks, there's no holes, anything that would indicate, you know, stuff could fly out. In this case, Pepsi product, bottles and stuff like that. Around you also want to do that around the whole side. There's also reflector tape. This is required by DOT, and that's another thing you want to look at. There's reflector tape on your mud flaps. That has to be there. If there is missing, or if this is any worse, you'll want to report that to maintenance and have them take care of that. So after that, you have your landing gear. This is where, when there's no truck or tractor under there, this is well, this is what holds it up. They'll kind of want to see you do this, so you pull it out, and again, I hit the power button. But yeah, you want to show that it works. It's in working order. It goes up and down. So then you can just push that back in, which can also be a pain. So you get that back in there. So that works. Landing gear works. Your lights, turning light signal is good. All the way back. You keep talking about the lights. Your lights are not cracked, broken. They appear to be in working order. I say appear because we don't know until we do the light test, but you should know. You sit there and say they are working. You'll look at here. These, sorry, I heard we have a guy dropping the trash off. Heard him. We have hoses for your air lines and stuff. They are good, working order. There's no lacerations or any cuts in them. Cuts is probably the best thing. Coming over here, you have your trailer brakes. These are, of course, the brake chambers. They are not appeared to be broken. There's no leaks. All the cords seem to be good and in working fashion. You'll look at your inner tires. As you can tell, it's a little tight back here, but the wheel is not bent, broken, or cracked. There is some little wear on it, but that's normal. But there is a good seal around the tire. You can see that our brakes, we have plenty of brake pad and all that good stuff. So there, and of course you don't want to use this. There's actually a bend right here in this rim. It is not anything super bad, but it might be something you want to bring up. Again, looking in the bud spacing, there's nothing in the bud spacing. If a rock gets in there, it could destroy somebody pretty. I know somebody who actually got seriously hurt from a rock flying out between a sizable rock, crashing through the window. But again, here, your brake pads, plenty of brake pads, your drum and all that is in good shape. There's no signs of cracks. Your airbags, in working order. There's no lacerations, cuts, or anything. There's no signs of leaks, as we hear no air escaping. Of course, you guys only probably hear me. So, anyway, coming out, you look at the tires. Again, tire 2/32 of an inch on all the tires. There's no bulges or anything like that. This tire is in good shape. The wheel on the outside, not bent, broken. There's a good seal. All your lug nuts, again, tight. This is, of course, like up front, but this is your oil hub. As you can see, it's kind of hard for you to see, but there is a fine thing of oil here, and they want you to be able to point that out. And there is plenty of oil in there. There's no leaks. Everything is good there. Same with these tires. You'll go over the same thing with all the tires, basically. And again, here's another thing. You can see it a lot better. There's a mark here, there's a mark here. You always want about that much oil. You can see that darkness. So there is plenty of oil there. This is for your leaks as well. Your mud flaps here. Flaps are good. The frame of the trailer looks good all the way through, and as well as these beams, basically is what they are. They are in good condition. There's no breaks or anything. Trailer reflectors still down the side. Nothing wrong with the rear of the trailer. You do have two lights here to indicate whether ABS is working or not. They are good. Coming back here on the rear, you have, of course, the DOT reflective tape, top and bottom, looking good. This is, of course, a lift gate. These lights are good. They were not broken, cracks, nothing that appeared to be hindering them. If you have a liftgate, they want you to see that your liftgate works. Some of these are different. Some of them have 3 of these things in a row. These have this too. They'll want to know that it works. You can simply do that by lifting it up and down. Everything works on that. Make sure it's up there. All your wires are good. Again, same thing with all these wheels as you did on the other side. Well, I'm just going to skip over that because this is already long enough. Of course, this is a Maxim lift. This is the battery box. This is where you'll keep your batteries, and this is where you don't have to show this, I do not believe, but you can see your batteries, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that you can do in case your liftgate's not working, that you can test to find out before you completely think that your liftgate has failed. And then you can lock that up by doing that. Again, looking at your marker lights and everything. This whole side of the trailer, you got your tape. The trailer is in good shape. This light, not bent, broken, or cracked. It's in good shape. It's fine. Again, terminology, not the greatest. Okay, so that will end that piece. Another thing, muffler. This is your muffler. The straps are good. There's no broken pieces. It's not, there's no holes, and everything looks good. The straps are good and tight. There's no sagging of the muffler. No sagging of the muffler. And I almost forgot the drivetrain. Drivetrain is not bent, broken, or cracked. There is nothing at the joints that is in the way, no debris. So our drivetrain is in good shape and complies. You can also sit there and say, you look up here, you still have your muffler, and you can see the converter and everything. That is all good. Doesn't appear to be any issues. All lines are secure and connected. So that will end that portion. Yeah, there's still more. I don't know if you can actually see. So we will put this down. It's warming up quick out here. Next thing is in the cab. But let's go over the sheet first before we go in the cab. Alright, so I stood at the front. No leaks. We did the reflectors and whatnot. We opened the hood. Passenger, we did the alternator. We did the water pump. Driver side, we did transmission fluid, the oil, the power steering, a air compressor. I'm pretty sure I did that. Yep. Engine coolant, hoses, leaks, flames, steering link and box, then suspension. We did shock absorber. We did the spring mount, which is where it mounts, obviously. Leaf springs, the spacers with the U-bolts. Again, here it says no cracks. That's why I'm saying this. It's, bends, breaks, cracks. If it's wire, it's cuts, bulges, breaks. Brake hoses and air lines, I think we pretty much covered those. We did the brake chamber, did the slack adjuster and the push rod, which are kind of one and the same. They go together. Brake linings. Then a tire rim, as you can see, confirm air pressure is at 100 psi. You'd do that, of course, by checking like you would any tire with a gauge. The rim, no damage, no cracks or welds. We did the lug nuts, we did the hub seal oil, we did the tread. The driver's door, we did with the hinges. The mirror, we did. Steps, as well as lights and reflectors. Rear of the truck, we did the air lines, which of course are these, as well as the ones off the truck and that go under. The electrical line, which is the green. I've actually had that come out while driving. Had to stop and get it put back in. Okay, the frame, the muffler we did last, we wouldn't be checked off for missing it. But you want to get that quick. But the reason why I forgot about it was it's on the passenger side. So you can kind of do things as you go to them. There's not really an order to these, I'm told. You got the drive shaft, which again we did kind of last, which you want to do probably once you get back here first time when you look over everything. And we did the tire rim on the rear wheels. We can skip over that because, we did that. Once you do it for one, you do it for every thing. Okay, so if you have 2 axles here, meaning there's another set of tires here, because these are single axle trucks, you would do the others as well. Hub oil seal. I think I got that right. mud flaps, reflector tape, rear lights working, reflecting tape. Then we did the kingpin, the locking jaw is the latch, the apron, and you know what I did forget? The release arm and safety latch. The release arm and safety latch, I always overlook, I will get it though, is this piece right here. Sorry, I'm kind of messing up here. Is that thing right there. And you want to look, it goes all the way across there. It's not bent, broken, so definitely need to get my shit together on that. Then we come up here, the airline couplings, which are these where the glad hands go in. The electrical line, which again is that green. Reflector tape and the bulkhead. The bulkhead, of course, is this thing here. Landing gear, we did that. The frame trailer is in good shape. We did the air mount and bags and shock absorbers. And then we did the brakes again. And then you got the rear tires and everything, blah, blah, blah. Now we go to this part. Right here, it's climbing the driver's seat. So I'm going to close that up because I need to learn how to do this. So you get into the truck. Alright, now before we get into the cab, another thing you want to mention is the registration. You want to point out where your tractor registration is. And then the trailer registration, which is usually located right here. So, woohoo there. Yeah, like I said, this is actually at the end of the video, but yeah, we're going to get into the truck and do the brake test and all that good stuff. Jack it off and everything. Now we're going to get inside the truck and we're going to do basically inside the inside the truck stuff, which is brake check and testing and all that. This is something that you have to do in order, down to the T, so let's hope I get this, because if I get it now, I can get it in the test. So open up the door. Now this is one of the things you got to go over. I would tell my instructor now, I'll be like, you know, this is something that kind of comes a little bit later, but not much later, is our fire extinguisher is good. It's in the green. We have good, it's securely mounted as well. It is a little loose so that it's not like super tight on you. You'll close your door. You'll roll down your window. You'll then put on your seatbelt. And this is where you'll tell your instructor, if he hasn't done so as well, or anybody who gets in your passenger seat, to put their seatbelt on. Now what you'll do is you'll point out where your extra fuses are. A lot of times the extra fuses are going to be under the passenger seat. And this truck, which is an International, they are actually inside that. It's not a glove box, it is the dashboard, but it does come off kind of, I guess you would call it a glove box, but it's not. You'll also tell them where your emergency triangles are. So if your truck breaks down or you're on the side of the road and you got to let people know, triangles are under the passenger seat. Now I will say you should have chalked your wheels as well, because you're going to be doing a test here, so your trailer does not roll back. We have done so on this, so when we do the brake test, you know, when we release the brakes, the truck does not roll unnecessarily. So what we do here is your yellow, it's a parking, it's your tractor brake, sorry, is your tractor brake, meaning your truck. This is the trailer brake supply. Okay, so now that you've confirmed where your triangles are, your extra fuses, your window is down, you can go ahead and say, you know, my windows in the cab are good, there's no breaks, there's no cracks, my mirrors are good on both sides, passenger and driver. Then what you can do is you can turn the key halfway. You'll tell them that all your lights are working, indicators. If you hear that clicking sound, that is actually the ABS moving around, testing. You can also sit there and say, you know, gauges or whatnot. You'll test your wipers. You can do the cleaner as well. You'll say that your wipers are in good condition. They are, you know, wiping the, you know, the pieces that I'm pretty sure many of us have seen, you know, wipers that are broken, the rubber is disconnected and it kind of lingers around. But our wipers are in good shape. You'll then test the horn. That's right, it's not a big wah horn, unfortunately. And then you will push in both these. We're ready for the brake test. Let's turn off those wipers all the way. So we'll push in the tractor brakes and the trailer. You see our truck is not moving. where you're stationary. You will then say, I am in a combination vehicle. Had a cough there. You'll say, I'm in a combination vehicle, and when I push the brake, we should not lose more than 4 psi. You'll then call out the psi. As you can see, we're not full. This is supposed to be, typically would be at 120 psi, but it was at like 90, and then we released the brake pressure, which of course released some psi, and we're down to 80, just over 80 or so. So what you do is you put your foot on the brake, and you hold it there for 1 minute. And you should not lose more than 4 psi in that minute. Now, I've done this test 2 or 3 times today, so I know that this truck is going to hold its air. So I'm not, in terms of time, I am not going to do the whole minute. I have done, about 20 seconds now, but you can see there's no movement. So after that, you can then let off the brake, and you will begin your other test, which is pumping the brakes to let the air out until the warning light and siren signal comes on. So you just pump the brake, and you can see we're losing air. And there we go, there's our warning light and thing. You continue to pump the brake, and you'll say, I'll continue to pump the brake until our emergency brakes come on. Those will pop out at 30 to 40 psi. So here we go. And there you go, they have popped out. What you can do then is you will start the vehicle. You say, I'm going to start the vehicle, and we can do the light test. And that is annoying. I am aware. I am aware of it every day. But that will build air pressure back up. Another way to get air pressure to go up a little quicker, give it a little bit of a rev, and air pressure will build back up. And that's when you'll get out, like you'll turn on flashers. Now your instructor will do this. He'll get out for you. He'll tell you to use flashers. You'll say flashers, and then as you can see, our flashers are working. And then he'll tell you left turn signal, right turn signal, and you'll confirm those. Again, I've done this a million times. I've confirmed it. So we're not done yet. I'll come out and I'm going to wait until we get back up to normal pressure, and then we'll get the siren, is what I call it, to come off. Go off. That way it's not annoying. And we'll perform the brake test. So that should be going off here in a minute. Not even a minute. Okay, so that is off. And I'm going to continue to let the pressure build a little bit so we can do this the brake test. What we did was a brake test, but we're going to do more brake testing, meaning we're going to test the trailer brakes to make sure they work, and then we're going to test the tractor brakes to make sure they're working. Even though we know they are. They should be. So now we're up to a good pressure. Just above 90 is where I feel comfortable with doing this. You'll test the trailer brakes to see that the trailer holds the truck. So what you do is you push the yellow in, that is your tractor brakes or truck brakes, and put the truck in drive. You also tell the instructor of what you're doing. So you say, I'm putting the truck in drive, we're going to test trailer brakes, and then you'll say applying gas until you feel a tug, you're not moving. You say trailer brakes work, so then you'll put the tractor brakes back on by pulling out is on, in is off, and then you'll push in your trailer brakes. So now we're in gear and we have our tractor brakes on, so now that's basically like having your foot on the brake. You hit the gas, okay, there is no movement, those work. Next is you push in both the trailer and the tractor brakes, or just the tractor brakes, and you'll go forward They say about 5 miles an hour, but we don't have a whole lot of room to work with, so we're just going to go forward a little bit. We can get up to close to that. And then you apply the brakes, and you'll say service brakes work. There's no pulling from side to side. If you do pull from one side to another, that means, well, there's one side of the brakes are not working or the other. And that will conclude your pre-trip inspection test. And then you'll be promoted, hopefully, to the driving portion, which is obviously driving. Your straight line backing, your curve back where you back into another straight line just offset, and then your 90 degree, and then once you get past that, you'll go on to your driver's test and hopefully have your license. Now again, this, like I said, this was just for me to go over and review. I don't know if I'm going to actually upload this on one of my channels, but if I do not take this as I am, you know, your instructor. This is what you have to do. This is just something I did to help me, because I do better when I'm presenting than just going through this over my head. So I want to do it this way. I think it helped me tremendously. If it's going to help you tremendously to do that, do something as well. Maybe have somebody record it for you, and you act like you're the instructor. And then don't be afraid if you miss some things. Obviously, the brake test, you have to get, have to get it in the exact order once you're in the cab. But everything else, you can kind of, if you do happen to miss, you know, a shock absorber, you can, you know, catch it some other time. So don't be afraid to do that. And again, don't be using this as your guide. I don't want you to feel like, you know, I'm the guy that you know, to do it. There's other better videos out there. This was just to help me. If I happen to upload it, then cool. And if you did enjoy it, awesome. And I'll see you guys in another video. Take care. Peace.